So today we're talking about something that is a perfect way to start the year here in 2019, which is you, or Jervis in the Philippines. How to be a great salesperson. And are you a great salesperson?
Exactly.
And if you're not a great salesperson, what do you need to do to be a great salesperson?
Exactly. It's a skill, I would say, that you need to constantly improve, learn, and get better at it and practice. I think that's also the other thing, that I think you need to be always practicing your skills, because otherwise they get rusty.
They do. Your skills do get rusty, and it's super important. Well, it's super important to evolve, right? You need to. You can't just do the same thing all the time. You need to keep evolving. If you make mistakes, which you will, you keep evolving forward and try and improve what it is that you do.
Exactly.
Right. So let's dig into this baby. So, oh look, it comes back to me every time. It's a miracle. So, how do you be the best at sales? How do you? What is it? What is sales exactly? What is this business that we're in called sales? Mm-hmm. And if you think about sales, we get so focused on the word sales, and sales carries this, to many people, this huge negative connotation, right? Mm-hmm. Right away, if I say to you sales, what do you think about? What pops to your mind immediately?
Business, deals.
You don't think a used car salesman?
Yeah. Oh yeah, as far as the type of personality, yeah, I would say that. Or, for me, it was really funny when I moved here. I went to buying appliances at appliance store. There was salesman. In Europe, we didn't have salesmen. So this is, I guess, it comes to mind. But I think as far as ideology, it's a deal, contract. In our case, finding people with the right homes and move them from A to B. And I think when you are in sales, you either have a product to sell, you have a service to sell, something you selling that makes people, I guess, better, happy.
Yeah. So, great point, Diana. So the goal here is to, again, motivate you to be the best you can be in 2019, and that's what we're kind of trying to get towards. Is that right?
Yeah.
So again, as I was saying, we're having some technical stuff where the camera's not working the way I want it to, but we're going to go with the flow. We're trying to keep this pithy, which means sort of on the 15 to 20 minute side at most.
Yes.
And that's our commitment also, is to keep this baby going. And we're already 4 minutes in and we haven't said a damn thing. Have we? Anything important yet? Okay, let's kind of
focus on the topic.
So we have some notes here. So if you see me looking off into space, it's actually me looking at notes. And so in this idea that you are a salesperson, what does it mean to be the best salesperson? Or what does it mean to be the worst salesperson? And when you think of, let's kind of think about sales. Everything we touch in this world somehow was sold to somebody else to get there for you to buy it. And whether we're talking about an apple in a store, mm-hmm. or perfume at Sephora, or whatever it is, there's a sales process that has happened to get that product there. Mm-hmm. And it's really important to realize that everything we look at today somehow was sold to somebody by somebody. And what was that process? Was it about a relationship that, speaking of perfume, was it one perfume got the display and one didn't get the display, or one got purchased, one didn't? Or if you're buying a car, you decide you want a particular kind of car, does the salesperson turn you off or turn you on to buy the car? There's all these kind of steps to the selling process, and that's 100% true in our business also, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's it? You can't help me out while I...
No, just get to the point, honey. I got that.
Okay, so fine. So we've talked about this. Let's start with the negative. The negative part of this, and Diana for 2019 is trying to get less negativity.
Yeah, negativity.
Right. So let's start with the bad thing. When people say sales, back to the used car salesman, what is it we all kind of think of when we think of sales, and why we don't realize what a great profession it is? We think of the negative sides of it, how it's a negative profession.
Yeah, because I think what comes to mind when, let's say, talking about the used car salesman or the appliance guy is to make that sale. They don't necessarily care about what you really want, what is your end goal. They just want to have that number. They just want to make that dollar. And I think that's the wrong approach when you're a salesman. Salesmen always need to put the best interest of the client first, very first, and you are kind of next or even last. And then, believe it or not, I think the universe make it happen, because I think the client sense it, that if you are very pushy, very aggressive, you don't listen, you don't kind of get what they're really telling you or what they really want, even though sometimes it's really hard to kind of get it out from the client. But that's the good salesperson. The skills is what we need to improve, and we need to know, and we can only do it by practice, meaning being in front of people, talking to people, is to get really the meat of what they really want, of what they're really looking for, what is kind of their dream. And if you dig that out and you do listen, and you put their interests first, they will connect and they will work with you, and hopefully they become your advocate. So I think this is what a good salesperson skills, the number one skills a salesperson should have, is to really put the client's interest first.
Absolutely. So let's talk for a moment about, again, good versus bad, and on the maybe weaker approach is the no pressure approach. A lot of salespeople will start off the conversation with, look, no pressure, I'm here to help you, no pressure. Do you think that salesperson can actually sell things well, the no pressure approach? I sometimes have to admit, I go the no pressure approach. But what happens in the long run with the no pressure approach, what is it that people want when they're looking to have something sold to them? They want guidance, they want honesty, they want truth.
I think no pressure doesn't mean that you disappear. I think the no pressure is that, look, you don't have to make a decision today, but here is, the facts, here is what we have right now. Let's see, what you really want, and then let's keep looking. But it doesn't, no pressure doesn't mean that you kind of drop the client and then you just kind of like let them be and you don't even follow up necessarily and you just wait for them to follow up. No, I think, a salesperson is also, yes, you're right. It's an absolute, it's a guide, kind of a coach, holding their hands and helping them actually making the right decision. So I think no pressure, that's what it should be. You keep, helping them.
Absolutely, it's a great point, and it's the best we can do, right? Absolutely, absolutely.
Just don't focus.
Okay, so we're gonna ignore technology because it's in our way today, and we're just gonna let it do its thing and forget, because we don't know what it's actually doing. So the reason we talk about no pressure. Your job as a salesperson is to be smart about your business, have your client's best needs at heart, to be truthful, honest, all these components, and not your best interest first, but the client's best interest first.
Yeah.
Right? So in the selling process, you are guiding people to what they need. So let's take two approaches for the real estate sales process. You have somebody who doesn't help push the client towards their conclusion. Yeah. They are a yes person. Oh, yeah, this is a nice house. As opposed to telling them about the benefits of the house or why it's a bad house, helping guide them towards the right thing, or listening, most importantly, to what's wrong with the house to that client. So the client says, oh, I hate the color. Well, that can be fixed with paint. Yeah. But if your response is, oh, yeah, I hate it too, guess what?
Yeah, I think a good salesperson is always a good listener. So they need to know, how to listen. And I think you are giving, because you do this every day. You're dealing with people, you're seeing homes, you know the trend, you know the prices, you know the location, you know what sells right away, you know what doesn't sell right away. And I think, what works for us really in this business is that I'm actually honest. I'm very honest. And I say that, look, in my opinion, this is what I see here. And this is, how I process this, situation or house or whatever is there. I think your kind of input is definitely helps with their decision-making process. And it's not doesn't mean that you need to be negative. It doesn't mean that you need to always say yes, because if you always say yes, which is most of the time you do say that, it is not necessarily going to help them make the decision. And I think people do appreciate honesty, and I think the people hiring you because of your expertise. So and I think sharing your thoughts and sharing your opinion, and they know they're smart, they're intelligent. It's your view on things. They don't necessarily. I don't 100% understand their situation, where they're coming from. I'm not in their lives, but I'm trying to at the moment help them and understand the decision.
So let's talk about this idea that nice people finish last. Also applies to sale. Nice people, generally super nice people, aren't very good salespeople.
Well, because if you're not...
And we're pretty nice sometimes, so
yeah,
sometimes
I think nice is not... Yeah, so meaning nice and being smart and being... You need to have sales skills. Sales skills includes closing. That's the ultimate goal, to close the deal.
Right.
So don't forget that. Just to be nice, and as I said before, just to say yes, 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 and just go on the floor and showing people, homes for 2-3 years, it's not going to necessarily help them.
Well,
it's actually going to hurt them, because by the time...
Right, but what ends up happening, that's a great example. You get the phone call after a year or two, hey, we're going a different direction.
Yes, or they walk into an open house and then they're going to meet somebody who is...
does a better job.
Who does a better job of closing and showing them the right home, and here they are, they close the deal without you. So ultimately, obviously, the deal is, to close the deal, but don't be the pushy, aggressive type personality. I think pushiness and aggressiveness not necessarily is a long-term kind of skills that pays off. It is a skills. I mean, yes, but personally, I mean, I'm obviously I'm doing this every day, so I don't like to be sold to necessarily with blah 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 stuff.
Right. So let's talk about the lowest level of salesperson, and then we're going to move on to the best kind of salesperson. The calls we get as agents, the calls people get in their homes every day, the telephone phone call, hello, and again, I'm back to the old school telephone, not a cell phone, because that would be more like whatever. So the call of, hey, I want to sell you something, and and you hear all the people talking in the background, and you're one of 100 or 200 or 500 calls that person makes in the day. Mm-hmm. Those are horrible calls, and that's the lowest level of salesperson. They're paid an hourly rate plus a commission for every deal they close, and it's a numbers game. Do you want it? Yes, no, and they have an objection handling script, and we all hate them. The calls from the alarm company, the calls for us for every...
But this is not what we do here.
No, but I'm making a point. That's sales still, but that's the lowest level of sales. It's untrained objection handling sales. When you say no, they say, well, what if I give you a discount? What if I do this? But I don't need the product. If they're calling me and I haven't called them, I probably don't need the product. So our job in real estate, on top of everything else, is to get the call or to make the contact somehow.
Right.
We have to be proactive, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes,
good.
But this is not what we are, doing here. I mean, hopefully, most people who get into real estate, they are in a much higher level of, skills, and because we do sell the highest, investment in anybody's probably lives. So we need to have obviously better skills than that.
Absolutely true. And it's also important to kind of realize that dating, right? Dating sales, isn't it?
Yes.
So
first you sell yourself to one another.
Right.
Then you sell the house. The house is definitely just a byproduct what we sell. What we do sell is really ourselves to one human to another, and make the connection and make the trust, and then you actually selling the home.
Right, but it's always funny when people say, "Oh, I'm not in sales." But you are in sales. Everyone you meet, every time you have a new friendship that starts, it's a sales job. Yes. You're selling to the other person about why you should be their friend, and you're talking about your benefits and your features, and you're telling them, here are the reasons why I think you should be my friend.
Yes.
And if you sell too hard, what happens? If someone comes into your life and they oversell themselves in a friendship, they turn you off.
Yeah.
So this is the way we need to think in our own business. Think about people in your lives who turn you off. They may be the nicest people, but they try so hard. I mean, we've had people around us who are super nice, but they start hammering, hey, let's go have lunch, let's do this, hey, let's get our kids together, hey, let's do blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I think this is definitely, I mean, if you're talking about friendship, it's definitely a fine line when you are in a friendship, because ultimately you want to help your friends.
Right.
And at the same time, you're enjoying their company. But, it just happened to me, in the last months that a really good friend of mine purchased something without my help, even letting me know. So I'm kind of, hesitant to talk about this with her, but I will eventually. But it hurt a lot, and I think I made a mistake of not making sure that at the end of the day, I do say that I am your, expert in real estate. So it is a hard line.
Right. But what is the net? The net in all of this is helping people make a decision. That's sales. You're helping them make a decision, yes or no. That's dating, yes or no. That's friendship, yes or no. Our job as realtors, it's yes or no. Do you want to buy a house with me? Yes or no. Do you want to buy this house? Yes or no. That's what this comes down to, right? It's a simple process.
Yes.
At its simplest form. Why are you fighting me on this? What's going on
I know.
here? What's happening? What's happening?
No, I'm just yes, I know, but
Okay.
what's the
point is we lose sight sometimes of why we're in this business. There's so many times we meet people who don't sell. They talk about the benefits of a home, or they talk about the features, but they don't listen to what that person wants. We don't listen to each other as friends. We don't listen to each other as partners.
Each time I think in our career, each time when we didn't get a deal, or somebody chose somebody else, or we didn't get the contract accepted, we always come back and we kind of think through, the two of us, okay, what went wrong, what happened, and what could we do better. And each time there is always a conclusion, obviously. Most of the time we made a mistake of not closing the deal and just being honestly too maybe naive or nice. or not too pushy or not too, but then it's hard because when you are in the situation, after the fact it's really hard to criticize it. But at the end of the day, because we are dealing with people and people's emotion, sometimes even the client doesn't know necessarily how to communicate, because communication comes down to, and I'm a good listener. I understand what they want. I always say to people that a no is a fantastic answer. It's even better than yes, because now we know it's a no. But at least communicate it to me. And people just feel sometimes, negative things they don't want to share. They don't want to really truly be honest. And that's what that's why it's a hard proposition, and it's a hard business.
Right. So we know a guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to speed us up a little bit.
Yes.
We know a guy who told us, he calls me up and he's a sales guy, and he says part of his coaching routine is to make 25 outbound sales calls per day.
Yes.
Right? And I love this idea that you religiously decide that part of your routine.
Yes, because at the end of the day it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game, right? So you decide you're to do this, but then to call me up and tell me that I'm one of his numbers. On one hand, I felt, hey, this is kind of cool. It's kind of cool that he's doing this routine of 25 calls per day, but then to tell me that I'm just a number to him actually turned me off on him completely, because he told me.
Especially that we are in sales and you know what coaching people do, and you have to hit your numbers, quota for the day, for the week, for the months. Yes.
Yeah, the
you
math
don't
in our
share
business,
that. Hey,
right.
I called you up because you are on my 25 people to call list.
So if you call one person per day,
Yeah.
the odds are kind of low of you getting business. But if you call two, you have doubled your opportunity to get business.
Yes.
What if you make 4 calls? You've quadrupled your opportunity to make business. What if you
every
make
day?
Right.
And every day you do need to make calls. You do need to make contact with people, with buyers, sellers, past clients, asking for the referrals. Every day you need to do this, and the cumulative work is going to pay off.
Right. So as we go through this, so I'm a new agent or I'm an old agent, even like us, we're panicked now. Let's increase our pipeline. And what is our first thing we think of? Let's buy leads online.
Yeah, because everybody does that. Yeah,
and it seems so easy. Oh my God, we're going to buy leads online. They're going to be curated and qualified. But what's the reality?
It's not true. It's
They're
absolutely
shit, right?
not true. Yeah, they lie. Those are the liars.
Right. Those leads are like 1 in 1,000 are good leads.
Yes.
So you need to go through a lot of crap to get to the one good lead. And the math is, sure, it feels good. You paid for these leads and maybe you get a big sale. But what if all that energy for the 999 people who didn't buy a home and wasted your time, what if you used that time to do something else?
Yeah.
You would have done a better job, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So again, we're talking about a lot of things here in sales. We've covered the part about what's bad about being in sales. We're talking now about don't buy leads unless you have a lot of extra money. So people who buy leads and should buy leads, if you are making $1 million a year in real estate, right?
Yes.
And you want to cover all your bases to make sure you are seen by your prospective clients. Leads can be great. If you're on Zillow, for example, and they go there to check what you're doing, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
however,
but it's a very expensive.
It is,
tool,
but you want to be seen. It's no different than advertising in the paper.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
magazine.
obviously, marketing, it means that you're not just focused on one channel. You have to focus on at least 5 different channels.
Right.
Because you do need to cover your bases, and you never know where people are gonna connect you and where people are gonna see you, and when the timing is right. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a people business. You do need to make connection with people, face-to-face connection.
Absolutely.
That's the key to the business. Year to year, that's probably the second one, and
We've
the
been saying that for
remote
years.
is the
For
online.
years, it's face to face.
But you do need to give value, and I think now that social media frenzy world, you do need to give value. You do need to share. You do need to talk. I always call the website is your face, but I think social media is your voice to the world.
Well, social media also gives people the opportunity to meet you before they've met you.
Exactly, and I think people dig in before they make the connection.
I hope so. I hope that's the way it works. I mean,
yeah.
we're doubling down on social media with the belief system that it helps build relationships. People will meet you on the street and they feel like they know you.
Yeah,
Feel
but
about
I
you
think-
with a celebrity, right? When you see a celebrity, you feel like, oh,
But
I know
think-
you. I know all about you.
Exactly, and I think at the end of the day, when you do sales long enough, especially real estate sales or high value sales, and you make a good living at it and you are successful at it, I think eventually you want to share it. You want to share your expertise. You want to share what you learn. You want to share what's happening. So I think for me, for us, social media is a fantastic outlet to kind of vent and share, and at the same time, hopefully we attract more. So it's a
Right.
win-win situation.
Well, so part of our business is how to get in front of people, right?
Yes.
And we've talked in today's call about getting in front of somebody, and then what happens? Well, it's question asking, it's problem solving, and let's kind of go through the high level idea of sales as we wind this call down.
We
We're
need to
out of
wind this
time.
down because we actually are so
to be a great salesperson,
Uh-huh.
we have kind of this cycle that I kind of
Great salesperson, you need to have your client's interest first.
Right,
You
really
need to
important.
understand how to listen, how to understand, and how to guide them. You are also their guide, and ultimately they make the decision, but you are guiding them to the decision.
right.
And
And
at the end of the
that's
day,
through asking questions, right? So let's go
Right,
to the
you
list.
need
You
to
ask
ask
questions.
questions.
You listen profusely.
yes, and you need to know what kind of questions to ask. You need to know how to dig into
Right.
the meat of their decision-making process.
Right. So listen, problem solve.
Yes.
That's yes, no questions. How can I solve this? I don't like the color. It can be painted. It's cheap.
Yes.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Exactly.
I hate this landscaping. It can be changed.
Provide solutions. That's
Right.
exactly what it is. So when they walk into a house and I see, oh, they didn't like the color of this room, obviously I say to them that this can be easily changed. Absolutely. This is
Absolutely.
like the skin that can be absolutely changed. The bone is a little bit harder. But yeah, so you need to provide solutions for the problem or the issues.
Right.
And they ultimately build their trust, build your trust to them. And
Right,
then
so that's the
hopefully-
whole thing we're
and
talking
they
about is
become your
trust.
advocate. Yeah.
Trust.
But then at the end of the day, you also need to close.
Well, so ABC, always be closing,
Yes.
but don't make it feel like that.
Yes.
But you need to build trust that you are providing information that is trustworthy.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So Diana just answered Hungarian. I'm
Yes.
not quite sure why, but she did. So back to the kind of tenets that we're talking about. And in your mind, as you walk away and from watching this or listening to this call or
Yes.
watching this call today, listen, provide answers, provide solutions, problem solve. Be sure you build trust, and if that's by coffees and dinners and friendship and questions and time with their
And share
family
your
members.
expertise. I think
Share your
that's what the
expertise.
biggest trust builder. And then close.
Right, and then
And
you're,
make them happy.
right, and
Make
you give away
yourself
things for
happy.
free, right? Your information is free to them. It's not,
Yes.
well, I can't tell you that without you working for me. Show them you're the expert.
Yes.
Make them want to work with you. And again, that's all through asking questions. What else? Anything else in this that you think's important?
No, I think this kind of winded down to the topic of how to be a great salesperson as we move into 2019.
Right.
And more great topics to come. So please be sure to join us every Monday. And happy MLK weekend.
Right. And the last thing I want to say is, and this applies to every human being on this planet, things never work on the timeline we want it to work on.
Never.
So, for example,
You need to
decide.
accept the fact. I think when you actually declaring yourself you're a grown up, that's the first thing you probably experience, that things never happen on your timeline.
Right. So when you want business, there's a 6 month to a year window between changing what you do to when that thing maybe starts to happen. And that's why people give up in 3 months. It doesn't happen for them.
Yeah.
Because the change, like changing the course of a ship in the ocean, takes
even
time.
I just read it, even Gary Vee says, for 10 years he's giving information on social media before anybody give any sort of attention to him. And of course now he's world famous, but it takes time. It takes time, but just you need to do it every day.
Right. And the last thing in closing, we all see the success people have, but remember, every huge company that I can think of, every big business person has gone through failure. Every company has had failure products, failure employees, failure bosses. We've all had failure. Failure is part of success. Almost every entrepreneur has had failure. Yes. So just because you aren't achieving the goals you want, and maybe you are, if you are, that's great. But if you aren't, it just means it's a phase. Work through it to your success. Keep doing what you're doing. That's the bottom line here.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing.
It's hard sometimes.
Improve your sales skills and listen. And again, help people solve their problem. What is their problem? I want to buy a home. I want to sell a home. Help them make that happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
So happy rest of Monday.
Right. This was a stressful call, Diana.
No, I think it was, we kind of warmed up the end. Yeah.
Warmed up at the end. Okay. Well.
Usually at the beginning. Alrighty. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for being here today. Appreciate those who Jervis in the Philippines. Thank you for listening. Take care.